After watching John Rhys-Davies in Anaconda 3 and 4, I decided to see what other films he's done. Now, obviously, I knew he was in Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Lord of the Rings movies, but if he's in Anaconda 3, what other movies has he done? And that's when I found Sabertooth, which sounds like a fun little creature feature. Nothing special, but a good time. So let's watch it and see if Sabertooth is worth your time. It opens up in a lab when the cleaning crew comes in. This poor schmuck goes in to wash some windows or something, and the cage keeping something out gets stuck. He doesn't notice it until it's too late, and by the time he realizes his mistake, he's a goner. Now we meet a group of people out in the woods. They're training to be camp counselors or something like that. I'm honestly not too sure, but none of these people seem to be prepared to camp out, except for Casey, their leader. The other members of the team are Leon, Lola, Jason, and Trent. Trent and Casey have a history together in that they dated for a while, but it didn't really work out.
Okay, let's move out.
Trent's played by Josh Holloway, Sawyer from Lost. Hey, how about that? They all set out, and already we can see that these people aren't prepared for the outdoors. Why are they out here volunteering their time to be counselors then? Well, for the most part, their moms made them do it.
My mom said I was spending too much time in front of the computer.
How old are these people? With the exception of Trent and Casey, they all look to be late teens, early 20s. And the whole time, they're all just trying to sleep with each other.
Just trying to get in your pants, Casey.
Yeah, well, maybe he will.
I looked it up. At the time of filming this, Trent would have been around 33, and Lola, the chick he's trying to get with, was only 23. A 10-year difference. Why cast him so young? Anyway, with that little tangent out of the way, we can move on. This guy's been delivering a very important package, and I bet you'll never guess what it is. It's the Sabertooth, you know, the title of the movie. So it might come as no surprise when he wrecks his truck. Well, that was a short movie. No way anything could survive that. Pack things up, time to go home. He's alive? And with barely a scratch on him. Well, if he can survive that, you know a prehistoric cat would have been just fine through the crash. And it quickly takes the truck driver for his next meal. Worse yet, a saber-toothed tiger is now on the loose in the mountains of California. Good luck. Next, we meet the brains and money behind the Sabertooth operation. Anthony's the one funding all this, and Catherine is the lead scientist. Anthony's played by, well, John Rhys-Davies, the whole reason I started watching this movie. But Catherine's played by Vanessa Angel, who was in Kingpin. Honestly, for such a cheap B-movie, there is a lot of talent, even if it was early in their careers. So what's really happening here? Well, Catherine and her team are able to fully grow a saber-toothed tiger in only 6 months by cloning it.
Oh God, I'm going to make billions.
Knowing that this works, they can move on to cloning human body parts. If you needed a heart transplant, you can now just grow a new heart and throw it in there. But it's getting late, and the cat should have been here by now. So Anthony and Catherine go to see what happened, leaving Kara alone in the cabin. Oh, yeah, there's another character here named Kara, but don't get too attached to her.
Is it here yet?
To fill up the runtime, we meet this couple out doing it in their cabin. She gets up to find the cat and stumbles upon a much larger one, which takes them both out. In the morning, Anthony sees the crash, and they know what a pickle they're in now. So he has no choice but to call in Thatcher, a tracker that can hunt anything down. Our hikers are still out there, hiking, and really not doing much of anything else. Leon just about falls off a cliff, but no tiger attack. Too bad. With Thatcher joining the team, everyone heads out, and they quickly find the cabin of the two we saw attacked earlier. Catherine goes off on her own and gets grabbed by the girl. Instead of helping out or even being scared, she's more like, ew, gross. But then she doesn't tell anyone about it. The campers decide to play a little truth or dare, which is honestly pretty boring, so Trent and Lola go for a little walk. Sure, if that's what you want to call it. Meanwhile, Kara and Catherine argue a bit about how deadly this predator is. And, well, yep, it's pretty deadly, all right. Once again, Catherine's just like, oh, see you later. That's one less person for the payroll. While out gallivanting around, Lola gets lost, and she comes face to face with the Sabertooth. She does the one thing everyone tells you not to do. Turns around and runs. I've always heard you're supposed to keep eye contact and walk away slowly. But there's probably no sense in doing that when the cat is a 500-pound prehistoric cologne. She makes it back to the group and tells them what she saw, but no one's buying it, thinking it was just a mountain lion or something. After what I'm sure was a restless night, they wake up to see a giant paw print in their campsite. So maybe she wasn't wrong after all. There is one part I just have to point out real quick for a second. It has nothing to do with anything, but just look at Thatcher. No glasses? Glasses! I know he puts them on when Anthony walks past, but I don't know, it's just so smooth. I like it. Wow, I'm bored. The hikers finally make it to a cave and have a look around.
Oh, be careful. It might be full of snakes.
Watch out for snakes.
Who said that?
Inside, there's some petroglyphs, but not much else. Outside, however, there is a very real mountain lion coming home to its den. Leon manages to scare it off, and they're all safe, but what else is waiting for them out there? Later that night, Jason goes to take a dump, but before he goes, Leon offers him his knife.
Come on, mate. That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Of course, he doesn't make it too far. In the morning, they all split up to look for him, and instead find Thatcher, who's already found their friend mutilated. Catherine, no surprise here, doesn't want to kill the monster that's out killing everyone else in the woods, because it would be too precious to the science. You know, that old gag. But she does get Anthony to agree with her, with the promise of being rich. Trent and Lola are running from the cat, and again, the thing you never do in this situation, and Lola's killed. Trent's like, no! I never got to see her boobs! Thatcher tells the survivors to go hide out in an abandoned mine, and he'll come back for them.
Okay.
He ends up getting the cat in his crosshairs, but doesn't take the shot because Catherine's there with a tranquilizer, and naturally she misses. They fight back and forth a bit. Thatcher actually gets fired. He should just walk down the mountain and let everyone be killed, but the monster attacks. Anthony gets his foot stuck in a bear trap, and that's all she wrote. He's a goner. Next, the cat heads to a mine. Everyone goes in but Leon, who thinks he can take it on by himself. Well, he swipes at the air for a bit, manages to do no harm to the cat, and is promptly killed. Inside, Trent and Casey look for an exit. Well, he confesses his feelings for her, but it's probably not the best time to do that, buddy. She manages to escape out a tiny hole, but Trent can't fit through. She runs to get Thatcher's help, and he comes back with a syringe, the only weapon he has after Catherine dumped all his ammo. They manage to knock out the Sabertooth, and while it's sleeping, Trent can make his escape. But it didn't get a full dose, so it quickly wakes up. They all go running, and Trent fashions some spears in like 5 seconds. Good job. They make it to some boulders, but from here, it's straight down. So they're stuck. They're gonna have to fight it. But first, they're gonna have to fight each other. Catherine aims at Thatcher. Then Trent roundhouse kicks the gun out of her hand, getting shot in the process. For some dumb reason, Catherine thinks she can control the cat, and she yells at it to run away and be free. But yeah, it doesn't listen.
Help me!
This is Thatcher's chance to kill the Sabertooth with his homemade spears. But it's a bit like David and Goliath. They get to the high ground and fight it without much luck. They throw him another spear, and he finally manages a hit, killing the prehistoric big cat. And that was Sabertooth. Not really the best movie ever, and definitely a product of its time. Now, I went in expecting the cat to be CGI. This was 2002 after all, so I didn't mind that too much, although it did look like garbage. The times that they used a Sabertooth puppet, it actually looked decent. My biggest problem with this movie is how they go from one group to another, and yet nothing happens in either. It's like someone told them to make a movie, but there's no heart in it. There's no big twist, and honestly, no real reason to root for anybody except for the cat. The talent was wasted here. Like I said, some actors I recognized from other movies. It surprised me when the whole movie is just so blah. Sabertooth was made to make a quick buck, and then to move on to something else. If you got duped into watching it like I did, I bet you feel the same. I give it 2 Thatchers and Shades out of 4.
Would you stop pacing?
Look, you do what you do, I'll do what I do. I pace. You probably ride a broomstick.